Okay guys, I don't know about you, but I personally share the negative feelings that a lot of college professors might feel when they read our work, the work of college students. Lawrence Mashborn, author of Why Students Suck at Writing, also who is a professor at San Antonio University in San Antonio, Texas, is the head of a committee who is in charge with increasing the improving the university's general ed plan. What the committee has, by studying methodologies worldwide, so they use the methodologies that they study to improve the university's general ed plan. What the university has determined is what you see here. American students suck at writing when they don't use certain techniques. As you can see here, without using these techniques on a rough draft, this is what you will get. Not only do you have your own editing, because you realize after receiving alternate instruction, you realize that, hold on, Matt was right. This makes no sense. What am I doing here? You end up, chopping, screwing a whole lot of things. Why should you listen to me? You should listen to me because, like I said, American students suck at writing. And I will show you today, first, how to break down your topic, how to use real life, how to use evidence to bring up the importance of your topic, and how to compose an effective introduction and conclusion speech to whatever your topic may be. Now, if we're on an informational basis, this weekend, Gio and I had the opportunity to partake in what is called parliamentary debate. In parliamentary debate, you are given 20 minutes on one topic. And your job is to, one, provide a roadmap, provide a plan or counterplan, depending on whether or not you are arguing on the affirmative or the opposition on a topic. And three, to apply a methodology and to provide a stable conclusion and introduction. For example, let's today look at the topic that I had, the prompt that I had over the weekend for my comparative politics class. The raw topic is globalization a recent phenomenon? Now, you can obviously tell me, just from your basic information, you can probably tell me yes or no. But let's look specifically at this. Are we going to argue for or against? And now, in order to say whether I'm going to argue for or against, I must have an affirmative. I must have a plan. So I decided to argue against the question. I decided to present myself an affirmative where, no, globalization is not a recent phenomenon. So you have your first step here, which is an affirmative. Globalization is not a recent phenomenon. Globalization arose when human civilization arose. Now, like I said, your first step is to define your topic. You have to go and in order to explain to you what I mean by defining your topic, one of the topics we had this weekend was, this House believes that the United States should abolish teacher tenure. What is this House? What do you mean by abolish? And if I'm against abolishing, what is my plan? You must have a plan or a counter plan. This is the key to writing not only a debate speech, but any general essay. My plan is to counter the affirmative that globalization as a recent phenomenon, stating that no, globalization is not a phenomenon. And I identify myself as the House. I am the House. I am the composer. I believe that globalization is not a new phenomenon. Your next step is to use evidence to enhance said affirmative. I go on to talk about what globalization is. Globalization is increased international interconnectivity. We've broken down what that is. Now that we know what globalization is, we can now go into our evidence, like I stated. Now, globalization is a process driven by international actors. To do such, I reference, if you see on the first slide, I reference the Sasanian Empire and how the Sasanian Empire was the first empire to rule after the rule the Middle East after the Ottoman Empire, and they spread Hellenistic and Greek culture throughout the Middle East. They even had a capital where Greek, Indian, Arabic, and Roman scientists and scholars would come together and share said info. We also have here the Silk Road. So there is evidence to prove your affirmative that globalization is not a new phenomenon. We even tie it into real world applications today, as the United States is a capitalist society. And the world is working in itself to rid itself of communism and spread capitalism. Here we go ahead and tie it together with a real world issue. Now, your final step is to come up with a good conclusion and a good introduction. Contrary to students' belief, your last job is to come up with an introduction. Your introduction is simple. You have your main points being specifying your topic, using real world evidence, and tying it together with real world evidence. And it is for these reasons that we will end student illiteracy.